thought no. It was, no, it was for me. Hey,
Best, better, is that possible? That seems like an impossible
There's
task.
always way to tweak things.
No, no, oh, for that, yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Okay, so that'll go to my committee meeting if it's.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make.
If that's okay with you, I didn't hear back.
Yeah, I just finally opened the whole
Are we live?
Yeah.
Okay, I'd like to call the Ravenna City Council Committee of the whole meeting to order. Before we get started, I'd like to offer, or could somebody offer a motion to excuse Ms. Michael and Ms. Wood?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
And second, before we get started, I'd like to see if we could amend the agenda. We have a presentation tonight from the fire department. Would somebody offer a motion to amend the agenda to allow for this presentation at the beginning of our meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then we will begin the meeting.
Thank you.
Chief Chappell, if you
Thank you
could.
for allowing me this time. This is a very proud moment for the fire department. I'd like Zach to come up. I had to write this all down and read it because I didn't want to leave anything out, so kind of bear with me. I'd like to thank council for allowing me this time to give recognition to one of our firefighters, Zach Thomas. Zach recently completed the Indiana Smoke Divers program, and I'd like to provide you some insight of the program. The Indiana Smoke Divers program was originated in 2013, and it is held once a year. It is one of less than a handful of smoke diver programs in the nation. It is an intense 6-day, 60-hour training that is meant to challenge you both physically and mentally to the maximum potential. Of all candidates that get accepted into the program, 75% fail out by dropping on their own request. It is my opinion the firefighters' version of the Navy SEAL program. Annually, the program accepts 250 applications. The field is narrowed down by your qualifications to 125. These 125 individuals are then offered to come to the facility for a one-day tryout. The facility is in Indiana. The tryout consists of a written test, a timed mile-and-a-half run, pull-ups, push-ups, and other firefighter physical tasks. Also, an obstacle course, which has to be completed in full turnout gear while breathing air. Of the 125 individuals selected for the one-day tryout, only the top 50 candidates received the invite to participate in the week-long program. Zach initially applied in 2023 to get into the program. However, he wasn't accepted. After a year of training and conditioning, he reapplied in September of 2024, and in November, he received his letter of acceptance. Zach began the academy on March 9, 2025, and on March 14th, he was the 130th candidate to ever complete the training in the entire academy and graduated.
Congratulations.
Yeah, ask him all kinds of questions because he doesn't want to talk.
I'd just like to say thank you for all the support from the city and especially my coworkers and family as well. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Congratulations.
Okay, it's always nice to start on a bright note like that. We will move on in the agenda. The next item is approval of the Committee of the Whole meeting minutes of February 18th. You should all have gotten those minutes through email. Are there any changes, deletions, modifications? If not, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept the 2024 Ohio EMS grant for the fire department. This is from Public Health and Safety. Ms. Michael is not here tonight. Anyone on the committee want to speak to this, or, I mean, it's basically just accepting a grant, which I'm sure we all want to approve.
Pretty straightforward. Yes.
Right. And so, assuming it gets forwarded, it will be on the special meeting following the Committee of the Whole meeting. What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
The next item on the agenda is an ordinance amending codified ordinance section, chapter 1044.05, pre-treatment. This is from the Utilities Committee. Mr. Moskin?
Yes, understanding that this involves something that's done yearly for the different chemicals that's required by the EPA to treat the water treatment and the various chemicals for wastewater.
Are there any comments, questions about this ordinance? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Would you like to consider this for the consent agenda?
Consent.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to renew an MOU agreement with Portage County Soil and Water, also from Utilities. Mr. Moskin.
Yes, we had spoken about this. I'm going to ask a little bit more input either from the service director or Mr. Finney.
Won't say annual, but every 5 years, we have an agreement with Portage County Soil and Water to perform education and training
Oh, that's right.
as part of our stormwater pollution prevention control plan. MS4 license with her.
Okay.
Any questions, concerns about this ordinance? What's the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Would you like to put this on the consent agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
The next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to apply for, accept, and enter into a WPCLF loan agreement. This is also from Utilities. Mr. Moskin.
Yes, and I'll just like to ask this same thing from either the service director or Mr. Finney.
So as part of. Sorry, I'm having computer problems. Go figure. So, asking council to authorize the mayor to apply for and accept and enter into Water Pollution Control Loan Fund agreement for the Chestnut Street piping and lift station improvements.
Oh, this is in conjunction with the next item with MS Consultants.
Correct.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions about this? Okay, we've talked a little bit, oh, go ahead.
No, it looked like Mr. Coffey had a comment.
No, I was saying, no, I didn't have any
Okay.
questions. I'm sorry. I was shaking my head, no.
Okay, my misunderstanding.
Yeah.
I know that this is very important, needs to be, in my terms, expedited.
And this will help pay for the next item, which is the contract
That is
with the
correct.
consultants.
Yes.
Okay,
So they go together.
right, and so, assuming it gets forwarded, it will be also on the special meeting tonight. What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a contract with MS Consultants. And then this is in conjunction with the loan and the
Yes.
lift station and the piping to the water, wastewater treatment plant. Mr.
So
Benson.
it's a combination, they both go together. So it's very critical, they both are given the, more than okay, they're given the yes to go through with both of these.
Okay, any questions or concerns about this? And I believe the loan was upwards of half a million and,
Oh, no. No, so we were seeking, we're going to seek about $500,000.
Right.
Oh, yes.
that's what I said.
I don't know why I heard 5 million from you, but
Did I say
500,000.
5 million?
Yes.
Did I said half, I thought I said half.
That was a very large number.
5 million.
Sounded like you said
I
five.
think I started saying 500,000 and changed it to half a
Okay.
million and probably screwed it all up. I'll look at the video afterwards.
Yes.
Okay.
Check the video.
The contract price is $465,000,
Oh, okay.
$465,000, but
Yeah,
we expect there'll be some over design fees, overage on the design fees.
okay, thank you. What's the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
This one also will be on our special, following the committee of the whole meeting. The next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a gas aggregation agreement. Mr. Moskin?
I believe this is still not cut and dry. We're waiting for some, I'll just say, critical information. If we want Mr. Bellish to come and make a presentation on more defined information. The only reason I'm saying it this way is because it was commented before, in this sector, it can be volatile at times, but there's nothing cut and dry on a defined price on today.
Well, we did meet with Mr. Semino on Friday, and it's his understanding that we have 60 days at the current rate where we supposedly can negotiate. We've been given a new contract from our gas supplier, and it's not a fixed rate, it's a variable rate. But we'll have time to hash through that. There's also the possibility that we could just end that agreement and then, forge another agreement with our current broker. I'm not sure what the right term is.
Energy broker, right? Yes, sir.
But
And a third option, and we did have a few years ago a presentation from NOPEC. And, I think we just need to consider all options on the table. And I don't know whether it's beneficial financially or not, but we did not put this item on the special tonight, so this is not going to be, nothing's going to happen tonight anyway. But I guess procedurally, we need to find out what what council wants to do with this item. Eventually, we will have to make a decision. Do we want to move this on for an April possible vote, given us a couple of weeks in between? Do we want to send it back to the committee for more discussion and learn more about what our options are? Some of you may have noticed there was a pretty long article in the Record Courier today. We're not alone in this.
yes.
Streetsboro, Aurora, Talmadge already re-signed with the same company under their terms. I don't know, do you know, Brian, about Kent? It was not mentioned. I thought so, because I saw them on their website that they're a member, but I wasn't sure if they were part of an aggregation program. Okay.
Well,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
that my thought is, I think we should still wait and get a little bit more information, but I don't like waiting until the last, as an example, last few days, because then you're really pushing it, and I don't believe in getting a variable rate, because if you can get something fixed, we have no idea, I believe nobody does, what a rate could be in 9-10 months. It could go, I'm just picking a number here, it could go from around $4 to, who knows, over $6. So who knows what a variable could be. I believe a fixed is much better.
If the company sticks to their agreement.
Well,
I just had, I guess this is a learning lesson for us. My impression was that a contract was a binding agreement, and we entered into it for 2 years. And they made promises, and we made promises. We were going to do it for 2 years. We were going to pay this rate. They believed that they were going to make money because they were going to get the gas for less than they're selling it to us. That's where they make their profit. And then just to say, oh, the price has gone up, we can't honor the contract. Wow, that's a real learning experience on the nature of these types of contracts, that they're able to do this. So I'm a little flabbergasted that we call it a contract, and yet if it's not working out for them, they can just get out of it. So I know legally it sounds like there's some fine print that allows an action like this to take place, but my faith in a contract that was proffered by these folks was sorely wounded by these actions that have taken place.
And they appear to be somewhat unilateral. It doesn't look like they really made a conscious effort to negotiate a new rate. They just basically sent
For executing this
an
clause, here
ultimatum.
you go.
Yeah, exactly. And as I said, there was an article in the paper, and this affects other communities as well. One thing you might note is our agreement, which I know well, looking forward, seems like it was a good deal, is that, excuse me, actually higher than all the other communities really mentioned in the article. So, all right, so.
All depends on timing.
Exactly, I know what you mean. Do we have a member of the public who'd like to speak on this?
Hi, Cliff Soto, 464 Woodland Street. My question would be, are we really doing any favors to the people of the community of Ravenna by doing this? We can't guarantee them anything because obviously they've reneged on their deal. You can go to many different and do apples and oranges and get your best deal. I would suggest not to do anything that is able to change weekly. It's just
I think it's monthly, but.
monthly, weekly, whatever. I would be against that. And when you're talking about NOPAC, I think maybe somebody would have some short memories here because it wasn't more than 2 years ago that they left their people high and dry in a lot of communities, and their rates went up to $10 and $12.
Well, yeah, I remember I don't remember the
was a
specifics.
mess.
And I'm not advocating for that. We did have a presentation from them a few years, but it was right after we had signed up for a 2-year period, so it was kind of moot, but you may be right, it may not be the way to go.
And again, I understand that everybody here does their best job to
Right.
get us the best rate. But also, it's also confusing to me that, like you said, everybody else had a better rate. So
Yeah.
Maybe we can try to keep that from happening, or maybe in the old days, that gentleman would come in and try to explain some things to us. And we haven't got that in the last year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, I don't.
Whatever his name was, I can't remember.
Tom-
Nice guy.
Tom Bellish?
Tom.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm willing,
maybe it's
he's
time to
willing to
have-
come in, Cliff.
Yeah.
I'll have him come in. If
Maybe
we want
it's
him to
time.
come
If
in,
that's
he'll
what
come in.
council wants, we can
Yeah, I'll
certainly
have him
ask
come in.
him.
He's already told me he'll
Yeah,
come in
because-
Okay,
whenever
Because
you
it's a
want.
changing thing, I understand that, and
Yeah.
maybe he hasn't been able to.
Absolutely.
it's tricky business.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, other comments or concerns? What is the desire of council? Oh, we have another member of the public who'd like to speak on this. Please give your name and address.
Carmen Lodato, 222 Madison Street. As soon as you said that last name, I'm like, wow, that just brings back memories from Streetsboro. I gotta tell you, you gotta look into Bellish and the aggregate, because if you push back, he's all of a sudden able to magically find cheaper rates for people. But all in all, it is much cheaper for people to call and do the apples comparison, because the way that this came about, I don't know if, I remember because it's when I first bought a house back in '02. This is when people were paying $400 and $500 a month for gas bills, that cities got into these aggregates, which were a savings. But now that those prices have come down considerably, I think I hate to be frank, but many communities are getting screwed over by these aggregates, because it's not good for their residents, and most people don't realize that they can opt out of them. So in Streetsboro, we pushed hard to make those agreements and opt in, that if you wanted to be in the aggregate, you can opt in. And that's when all of a sudden, he was able to find these cheaper rates for us. So I'm just saying, just keep that in mind.
Thank you. That's good advice. And it is good, I'm glad you mentioned that, that is an opt-out function in Ravenna. You have to, tell the city you do not want to be part of the aggregate program. Other comments or concerns? All right, so back to the question. Is there any desire to move this on to the April regular meeting?
Excuse me, this is for the service director. Do you believe that Mr. Bellish might be here at that meeting?
He told me any
Well-
upcoming meeting, he'd be glad to talk to everybody.
I would, my preference is not to have that sort of interaction during a regular meeting where we've set an agenda to vote on things. I think that's better suited for a committee meeting, which I believe is the following week.
Yeah, can we wait and maybe have Mr. Bellish come to the Utilities Committee?
Well, I mean, what's the pleasure of the committee? Would you like to move this on, or would you like to send this back to committee?
Send this back to committee.
Yeah, back to committee.
And then,
Is that the consensus?
okay, then he can speak then.
Yeah, if so, is it the 14th? What day is the? Okay, for whatever the committee meeting night is, if you could invite him, and we'll put him up first, we'll put utilities on it first. Okay, so that item will go back to committee. The next item on the agenda is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to accept an EPA source water protection grant. One more for you.
Okay. I'll ask the service director if he has some more information on this.
This is a grant that Amy Wilson
Oh, that's
applied
right.
for.
So this did not go through the committee process, so it just came up fairly recently.
It did.
Okay,
And so this is a grant she was awarded. This is just to accept. the
Right,
grant.
Tammy?
Yes. Yes.
Did they send us the check already?
No, we do not. Will be a
Well, not to-
reimbursement one where she had to
Oh, okay.
give them quotes and stuff for the work she was going to do, and then she was surprisingly got the grant.
Right.
She was very surprised, 'cause it's the first one she's really tried to get for something like this, so.
Nice.
Yeah, so pleasant surprise. This will be on our special meeting, assuming it gets moved forward. What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance?
yes.
Ordinance?
All right, the next item on the agenda is a resolution supporting the passage of the 5.47 mill levy for the Ravenna School District. This is from the Planning Committee.
As it reads, we all know how important our schools are to our community and vice versa. It's imperative that we show support to our Ravenna School District. I would like to ask that we do not list this as a consent agenda, as I would like this one to be read separately. I think it's important. It needs to stand alone. We do move this forward.
Highlight it a little bit.
Yep.
I have a sign in front of my house. In case anybody else wants one, you can sign up and pass
I
that.
saw Tyler has his too.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think they
we
were
got ours.
delivering them today.
They handed them out today. I got mine too. So if anybody does want a levy sign for Ravenna Schools, reach out to anybody can reach out to any of us as well, and we can help point you in the right direction.
Glad-
Do you have any details how the money will be used?
They sent cards to everybody should have got something in the mail this week. You should have got something.
It's operating money.
Okay, wasn't sure
There
exactly.
there was a really good meeting last Tuesday, a week ago tomorrow, at the high school. And the treasurer went over in quite detail how they've so far been able to manage on the budget that they have and projected for the next 5 years where they'll be without the passage of the levy, with passage of the levy. As many as you may know, the governor has submitted a budget with significant cuts to public education. So it's kind of a moving target, but minimally, schools really need this money. And I hope that council will support this resolution.
They've been operating under the same operating budget since what year? I know someone knows.
It's been a while, 2004, something like that?
2004, 2005.
Yeah, 20
So I
years
can't
ago.
imagine
Okay.
operating under the same budget as 20 years ago. Things have changed so much.
All right, so what is the pleasure of the committee?
Resolution.
Resolution.
Hey, everyone's reading their agenda. I like that. And we will not put that on the consent
No.
agenda. Okay, the next item is an ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement for the summer school program. Also Planning Committee, Ms. West.
This is something that's on the agenda yearly. This is a program that we do not have to pay for. It offers a food program for youth enrolled in school as well as people with developmental disabilities. So it's a great program to have.
Cost neutral for the city. Any comments or concerns? Bless you. What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Would you like to put this on the consent agenda?
Yes.
Yes.
Next item is an ordinance amending codified ordinance section 1458.06 prohibited signs. Planning Committee, Ms. West?
This is an ordinance that is going to stop billboards in the city,
New billboards.
new billboards in the city.
Yeah, that is correct. I'm requesting we memorialize prohibiting billboard signs throughout the city.
So we have a definition, but we don't really have any code.
I haven't found it.
Yeah,
But
well,
that's-
but we're going to add some, right?
We're going to add this as, it'll be added to the section of prohibited signs.
Okay.
Billboard, correct.
Questions or comments about this ordinance? What's the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
You want to put this on the consent agenda?
I'm game for it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Next ordinance is an ordinance amending codified ordinance, section 1478.08, rubbish storage facilities, also from Planning Committee.
And this one pertains to multi-unit buildings, rentals.
All residential, single-family, multifamily, correct.
And, yeah, and it is the requirement of having rubbish pickup weekly and proper facilities to have that.
Correct, rubbish and garbage, we have two definitions, rubbish and garbage. I know it's as silly as it is, we need to define it. Or change definitions.
Rubbish and garbage.
And just so we're clear, this is an ordinance mandating that landlords arrange for the removal of rubbish, garbage.
Yeah, each owner and/or operator of each rental facility, unit, or structure shall provide adequate rubbish and garbage services on a weekly basis to each unit rented. Correct.
Great.
So we have landlords that have dumpster, say, well, we're going to provide them dumpster service, they just have to take it to the other side of town and put it in our dumpster. No, that's not permitted. According to me, I want them to have garbage service at that physical address every week. And that's going to eliminate a lot of continuous repeat offenders.
Okay,
I know in one location, the dumpster's actually in the street. So would something like that be changed down the road?
Well, we're working on that, Paul.
Okay, thank you. That's it.
We're working on that. It's, in certain locations, we're stuck, the city, we're stuck. Parking, for instance. The city has allowed homes to be built in the past without a driveway where they
Yes.
park. You know, the same thing, they've allowed buildings to be built that have taken parking spaces or spaces for garbage collection or dumpsters or driveways that aren't long enough because of the lot is 38 feet wide and you put a house and a right-of-way and a sidewalk and there's, you know, we try to work with these folks, but our forefathers created this for us. So some of these are tricky situations. I don't know what to do. I don't have answers for them.
well, we'll do the best we can, right?
Correct, we are.
Yes.
We're working on them.
Oh, just a moment.
Hate to be a pain in the butt again, but I support everything that you're doing, so it's clear, so we don't run into that this time, okay?
We're not tired.
Okay, but I do have a question about that. I was up at my building, which basically butts up to one of the big problem buildings, and there were 3 large bags of garbage on the roof of my building, which happens quite often.
On the roof of your building?
Yes, they just throw it over the knee wall because they're too lazy to take it out or it's full or whatever. My question is what recourse do I have and who do I call on that when that happens? Because again, it's causing rats,
Vermin kind of stuff.
everything so I don't have a good answer, and I'm not giving anybody a hard time here, but there's everything, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So if they're gonna make them go 2 blocks away to put their garbage, which I know you just said you're against, but if there's no place for them to put it, which I'm not sure there is, what would be their option at that building? To have garbage in the basement and then have to pay somebody to come and pick the garbage out of the basement every week? I don't have any problem with that, but is that an option, or?
Well, anything's an option. I would think a better option would be that for them to lease space for the dumpster to sit on private property.
And where do you think?
Well, I don't know. I mean, one logical.
Catholic Church over there, maybe? I'm just trying to throw
Right.
things against the wall,
Maybe
if
the
possible.
the Catholic Church or the building where the shoe repair shop is. They have a little bit of property back there.
Yeah, but I just, and what happened there then, when I found the garbage in my top, I picked it up and I took it over and put it in their dumpster. And out of the window, I heard, "Hey, what the F were you doing that's not your dumpster." Okay, I'm picking up stuff off of my property caused by them. And I pick up stuff all the time in that courtyard behind there that's filled with garbage all the time. So I guess you see the action causes a reaction, and what do we do at that point?
We're working with.
I'm not complaining,
No, you're not the only one.
It's a tough situation, but.
The building in the middle complains about both of those buildings.
Yes.
You know, they're bookmarked or bookended by.
Yeah,
both of
stuff's
those
falling
issues.
off of theirs and they won't do anything about it to fix the,
People are-
actually.
They're running across the roof, tearing the roof
Yeah,
up.
I'm sure that you're near
We're trying to.
condemning those buildings because,
We're trying to work with the two property owners. And there's always, as with single-family landlords often, there's always an excuse. I was in a hospital, or I was ill, or I was out of the country. Always an excuse. You know, Adam's been working with, the fire's been working with the one to come into compliance, and to no avail. You know, we just go to court. If they don't show up, what do we do? You know, we're back to square one, so. But that's where we're heading to, is heading to court, and then we hope they show up.
if not, if they don't show up,
Well, they could be fined, you know, and we just have to make sure we assess those fines.
follow up on them and.
But we didn't solve the problem.
No.
We didn't solve the dumpster problem, or the people throwing trash, or the fires. You know what I mean? That's that's the frustrating part. We could spend months planning to go to court, and then it gets delayed. Or somebody has COVID, they can't show up, and the judge gives them 2 more months. You know, and the whole time, the town pays for that. They pay the price, you know, the surrounding businesses or the owners, that sort of thing. You know, and to me, this comes back to underfunded people buying buildings that aren't interested in putting money into their buildings.
Our
because
development person has it right. Our rents aren't high enough in this town.
That's my
Because then
philosophy.
those places, they jam people in there. And, you know, I go by there every day, and everybody has enough money, even though they're cheap, to have a 75-inch TV box in there that blocks most of the dumpster up every week.
Yeah.
Or the old one coming out there, but the landlord can't quite keep up with his end of it, so. I don't envy your position on this.
We
It's
just,
tough.
no, we're trying, but you can't make somebody answer the phone, you can't make them react, other than we go and clean the garbage up and start billing them. And then it's difficult to find a contractor that will even do that.
Okay, any other questions or concerns about this particular item? If not, what is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Anybody want to entertain this as a consent agenda item?
I'm willing, yeah.
Yes.
Next item is an ordinance amending the Community Reinvestment Area, CRA, for the Ravenna 7 Theater. This is from Community and Economic Development. Ms. Woods is not here tonight, but I was able to meet with her and NDS to discuss this. Basically, when we set up the original RLF loan for the Ravenna 7 Theater, the state mandated that the loan be based upon them paying interest based upon their revenues. Unfortunately, Ravenna 7 doesn't make any money. So after, I believe, a 7-year period, the state allows them to renegotiate. And so this new loan arrangement is that they don't pay interest. They just pay off the loan if they, or when and if they ever sell the building. So that's the new arrangement. Did I get it fairly correct?
Yes, as well as, yeah. I could explain it too, yeah.
Thank you. All right. Questions, concerns about this? All right. What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance, consent.
And the consent agenda as well?
Here, here.
Yes.
Okay. Next item is an ordinance amending codified ordinance section 260.04, sick leave. The Personnel Committee, Dr. Calfee.
At our committee meeting, we talked about changing the provision so that non-union folks would be able to have a larger payout of their accumulated but unused sick time. We were pretty much in agreement that that was a good idea to do that. Upon looking at it some more, changing everyone over to that procedure right now could have caused some potential harm to employees that had fewer sick hours accumulated if they went into the new system. So what HR looked to do was to rewrite it a little bit so that no existing non-union employee would be harmed by the new provisions of this section to pay out for higher hours. So in essence, what it does is it allows us still to pay out the higher amount for accumulated but unused sick leave, holds harmless those people that have fewer sick days accumulated, and then has a provision that any new employees, non-union employees that come in will be under the system that is currently the one that all of the safety forces, dispatch, and fire are under. So that's a long explanation, but the basic is it meets our goal of a bigger payout for people with a large number of accumulated sick leave, does not harm existing employees, and brings all new people in under the format that we want to be used across the board.
Thank you. And I appreciate those who are involved, Ms. Lawrence, Ms. Zukowski, our HR consultant, Dr. Calfee, appreciate your work on this. I think it's just a good reflection that the city is very careful about how it treats its employees, and unintended consequences are not what we're looking for. And so this change since the committee meeting helps avoid anybody losing anything, which I think is a good sign for how the city conducts itself when it comes to human resources. I also just want to make a comment. I know it was a year or so ago that we changed, we fixed things, right? We put stuff into 260, we took things out and in the payroll ordinance. I think this is an example of how that's become more efficient. Now we just have to change 260 and we're done.
Yeah, one spot.
Great. Okay. All right. Any questions or concerns about this item? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Would you like to put this in the consent agenda?
Yes.
I think so.
Consent, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Next item is an ordinance authorizing the execution of then and now certificates. This is from our finance director, Ms. Lawrence.
Yes, we've talked about this many times. This is the authorization to approve our then and now purchase orders. It's a state requirement that we need to do.
Okay. Were they in our packet? I don't remember.
Should have been,
This is the budget. Anything, any noteworthy items?
nothing noteworthy.
Okay.
I mean, a couple of them, again, these happen with renewals at the beginning of the year if somebody's not aware and something comes through quickly, but they are all ones that are a word noted.
Okay. Any questions or concerns about this? What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance.
Would you like to place this in the consent agenda?
Yes.
Okay, our last item on the agenda is an ordinance to approve the 2025 permanent budget. Ms. Lawrence?
This is our annual appropriation permanent budget. I sent it out to everybody a few weeks ago. Revised a couple of things that we talked about at the committee meetings. I just sent you all a revised Exhibit A. It is just, there were some formula errors in that exhibit. Nothing that changes any of the detail and the detailed things we went over. And we need to have this passed into the county by April 1st.
So this will, assuming it moves forward, be on our special agenda, starting after the committee of the whole meeting. Are there questions, concerns? Appreciate the finance department's attention to this, getting it to
Thank
us in
you.
time.
Takes some time.
Thank you. What is the pleasure of the committee?
Ordinance?
Okay. All right, well, that concludes our business tonight. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second,
All in favor?
yes.
Aye.
We are adjourned. We'll take a, do you want to take a, we'll take a short break and then we'll start our special meeting.
About 5 minutes or so?
Yeah, 5 minutes. We'll
Okay.
say 6:45, we'll start up again.
Sounds good.
Yeah,
Oh, no, that's on a different.
I got a little bit.